Listen to me carefully. I am King Solomon, the wisest and wealthiest king who ever lived, and I'm about to expose something that will shock you. Right now there are men walking among you, ordinary men who look exactly like you, but they carry 7 silent signs that scream one thing: wealth is coming. You've been lied to your entire life. You think wealth is about luck, about connections, about being born into the right family. Wrong. Wealth has patterns, wealth has signs, wealth whispers before it roars. And most men are completely blind to these signs. They miss them every single day. They walk past opportunities that could change their bloodline forever. But not you, not today. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 7 silent signs that separate the men who stay broke from the men who build empires. Signs I've witnessed for over 3,000 years. Signs that have never changed. Are you one of the chosen few who carries these signs? Or are you destined to watch from the sidelines while others claim what should be yours? The answer will determine everything. Your legacy, your family's future, your place in history. Pay attention, your breakthrough starts now. The mystery that separates kings from beggars. Here's what nobody tells you about wealth, what nobody wants you to know. Wealth doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It grows in silence, in shadows, in the depths of character where no camera can reach. You've been programmed to look for the wrong signs. You see a man in a Lamborghini and think he's rich. You see designer clothes and assume success. You see social media posts and believe the fantasy. Stop. You're looking at the theater, the show, the performance designed to fool you. Real wealth is invisible at first. It's like a seed buried in dark soil. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't measure it, but it's growing every second, every minute, every hour. Building roots so deep that when it finally breaks through the surface, nothing can stop it. God doesn't work the way you think He works. He doesn't hand out money first and character later. That would be backwards. That would be chaos. That would create monsters with money instead of kings with wisdom. No, God marks character first. He tests the man. He refines the spirit. He burns away the impurities that would destroy wealth the moment it arrives. Because what's the point of giving a kingdom to someone who can't handle a village? Think about this for a moment. Really think. Every single wealthy person you admire went through a period of invisible preparation, a season where nothing made sense, where progress seemed impossible, where everyone around them thought they were crazy. But something was happening in the silence, something profound, something that would determine their destiny. They were being forged, shaped, prepared for what was coming. You want to know why most people never become truly wealthy? Because they can't handle the silence. They can't handle the mystery. They need instant gratification. They need immediate proof. They need everyone to see their progress or they give up. But wealth doesn't care about your impatience. Wealth operates on God's timeline, not yours. And God's timeline includes seasons of hiddenness, seasons where your character is being tested without witnesses, seasons where your integrity is being challenged without applause. This is the mystery most men never solve. They think wealth is about doing, about grinding, about hustling 24/7. And yes, action matters, work matters, but what matters more is who you become in the process. Are you becoming someone worthy of wealth? Are you developing the character that can handle abundance without being destroyed by it? Are you building the spiritual foundation that can support a financial empire? Because here's what I learned ruling the greatest kingdom in history. The moment wealth arrives without character, it becomes a curse. It destroys families. It corrupts souls. It turns blessings into burdens. But when character comes first, when the man is ready, when the foundation is solid, wealth becomes a tool of transformation, a weapon of purpose, a force for good that extends far beyond the man who carries it. Silent preparation precedes public manifestation, always, without exception. You cannot skip this phase. You cannot shortcut this process. You cannot bypass the hiddenness that creates true greatness. So stop looking for visible signs in your life right now. Stop measuring your progress by your bank account today. Stop judging your potential by your current circumstances. The real signs are invisible. The real progress is internal. The real transformation is happening in places no one can see. This is the mystery that separates kings from beggars. This is the secret that divides the wealthy from the wannabes. This is the truth that will either elevate you or eliminate you from the race. The greatest deception of the modern world. Let me destroy an illusion that's keeping you broke. Right now, today, this very moment. You think you can recognize wealth by looking at it. You think rich people look rich. You think success wears a uniform. You think abundance announces itself with brands and bling and business cards. You're wrong, dead wrong, and this mistake is costing you everything. The greatest deception of the modern world is the appearance of wealth, the theater of success, the performance of prosperity that has nothing to do with actual financial power. I've watched this game for 3,000 years. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've witnessed the birth and death of civilizations, and the pattern never changes. Those who look the richest are often the brokest. Those who scream success the loudest have the emptiest bank accounts. Why? Because real wealth doesn't need to prove itself. Real wealth doesn't seek validation. Real wealth operates in confidence so deep that external approval becomes irrelevant. But fake wealth is all about the show, the image, the impression, because when you don't have substance, all you have left is style. When you don't have foundation, all you have is facade. Look around you right now. How many people do you know who are drowning in debt but driving luxury cars? How many are maxed out on credit cards but wearing designer clothes? How many are one paycheck away from disaster but posting vacation photos on social media? This is the sickness of our generation. The addiction to appearance over authenticity, the worship of image over impact, the obsession with looking successful instead of being successful. And you're falling for it every single day. You're judging wealth by the wrong metrics. You're measuring success by the wrong standards. You're chasing the shadows instead of the substance. Real signs of wealth are invisible to most people. They're hidden in character traits that only the trained eye can recognize. They live in behaviors that happen when nobody's watching. They exist in decisions that make no sense to the crowd. The man who's about to become truly wealthy doesn't need to tell you about it. He doesn't need to show you his potential. He doesn't need to convince you of his destiny. Why? Because he's busy becoming it. While others are buying things they can't afford to impress people they don't like, he's investing in assets nobody can see. While others are financing lifestyles that drain their future, he's building wealth that compounds in silence. But here's what makes this even more dangerous. The appearance of wealth isn't just misleading others, it's misleading you. When you focus on looking wealthy instead of becoming wealthy, you waste precious resources on depreciating assets instead of appreciating ones. That car payment could be stock purchases. That designer wardrobe could be real estate investments. That expensive dinner could be business capital. But you chose the image over the impact, the show over the substance, the temporary thrill over the permanent transformation. True wealth begins within. It starts with thoughts that most people never think. It develops through disciplines that most people never practice. It grows through sacrifices that most people never make. The wealthy man thinks differently about money. He sees it as a tool, not a toy. He treats it as a responsibility, not a trophy. He uses it as a force for multiplication, not just accumulation. The wealthy man acts differently with time. He invests it instead of spending it. He leverages it instead of wasting it. He treats every hour like the irreplaceable resource it actually is. The wealthy man responds differently to opportunities. He sees them everywhere others see obstacles. He takes calculated risks others are too afraid to consider. He moves when others hesitate and waits when others rush. These are the real signs, the invisible markers, the silent indicators that wealth is not just coming but inevitable, and they have nothing to do with what you're wearing, driving, or posting online. So stop judging yourself by external appearances. Stop measuring your progress by material possessions. Stop comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel performance. The race to wealth isn't won by those who look the part. It's won by those who become the part, from the inside out, in the darkness of discipline, in the silence of sacrifice, in the hiddenness of character development that transforms ordinary men into extraordinary forces of prosperity. The 7 invisible markers of inevitable wealth. Now I'm going to reveal something that will change how you see yourself forever. 7 signs that exist in men who are destined for wealth. Signs that have nothing to do with what they own and everything to do with who they are. Sign number 1. Serenity in the face of scarcity. This is the mark of a king in training. When lack surrounds him, panic doesn't consume him. When bills pile up, anxiety doesn't control him. When others are scrambling in desperation, he remains calm in the storm. Why? Because somewhere deep in his spirit he knows abundance is his destiny. Not hope, not wishful thinking. Knowing. The kind of knowing that comes from God himself. The kind of certainty that cannot be shaken by temporary circumstances. I've seen this sign in every wealthy man I've ever known. Before they had money, they had peace with money. Before they controlled resources, they controlled their response to the lack of resources. Before they had abundance, they had the unshakable belief that abundance was inevitable. But most men panic. Most men lose their minds the moment money gets tight. They make desperate decisions. They compromise their values. They abandon their plans and chase quick fixes that lead to long-term disasters. Not the man marked for wealth. He stays calm. He thinks clearly. He makes strategic decisions instead of emotional ones, because he knows scarcity is temporary, but his response to scarcity will determine how quickly abundance arrives. Sign number 2. Hunger for wisdom that surpasses hunger for money. This man values advice more than immediate cash. He seeks mentors more than opportunities. He studies principles more than profits. While everyone else is chasing the next get-rich-quick scheme, he's reading books. While others are looking for shortcuts, he's learning fundamentals. While the crowd is focused on making money now, he's focused on becoming someone who attracts money naturally. He understands something revolutionary. That wisdom is the ultimate wealth multiplier. That knowledge compounds faster than any investment. That becoming smarter is more important than getting richer, because smart people inevitably become rich people. This man learns from mistakes instead of repeating them. He listens to criticism instead of deflecting it. He asks questions instead of pretending he knows everything. Because his ego is subordinate to his growth, and his growth is subordinate to his ultimate prosperity. Sign number 3. Complete detachment from recognition and applause. This is perhaps the most powerful sign of all. This man works in silence. He builds in private. He progresses without posting about it. He doesn't need your validation to validate his vision. He doesn't need your approval to approve of his approach. He doesn't need your encouragement to encourage himself to continue. Why? Because his motivation comes from within, and internal motivation is unstoppable. While others are working for likes and comments and social media metrics, he's working for results that matter. While others are building their image, he's building his empire. While others are seeking applause, he's seeking accomplishment. He knows something the crowd doesn't know. The harvest comes at the right time, not the convenient time. Success arrives on God's schedule, not social media's schedule. And those who work for human recognition usually sacrifice divine blessing in the process. Sign number 4. Supernatural resilience in trials and setbacks. This man doesn't just bounce back from failure. He bounces forward. He doesn't just survive losses. He learns from them. He doesn't just endure setbacks. He uses them as setups for greater success. When others would quit, he adapts. When others would blame, he takes responsibility. When others would give up, he doubles down, because he sees trials as training, not torture. He sees obstacles as opportunities, not opposition. This resilience isn't natural, it's supernatural. It comes from a deep understanding that every test is actually preparation for the next level. Every challenge is actually training for greater capacity. Every setback is actually set up for greater comeback. Sign number 5. Non-negotiable integrity even when nobody's watching. This man has lines he will not cross regardless of the potential profit. He has standards he will not lower regardless of the immediate benefit. He has principles he will not compromise regardless of the pressure to conform. He chooses truth even when lies would be profitable. He keeps his word even when breaking it would be convenient. He does what's right even when what's wrong would be easier. Why? Because he understands that character is the foundation of lasting wealth, and foundations cannot be compromised. Integrity isn't just about being honest, it's about being whole, complete, integrated. When your private life matches your public life, when your behavior matches your beliefs, when your actions match your values, you become a magnet for divine blessing. Sign number 6. Vision that extends far beyond immediate gratification. This man thinks in decades, not days. He plans for legacy, not just lifestyle. He sees opportunities where others see only problems, possibilities where others see only obstacles. He's not just trying to get rich. He's trying to build something that lasts, something that matters, something that extends beyond his own life and impacts generations. This isn't about accumulating money. This is about creating meaning. This vision gives him patience others don't have. It gives him perspective others don't possess. It gives him power others don't understand. Because when you're building for eternity, temporary setbacks become irrelevant. Sign number 7. Hidden generosity that creates prosperity everywhere he goes. This man helps people without broadcasting it. He solves problems without seeking credit. He creates value without demanding recognition. He understands the greatest secret of wealth creation. You become rich by making other people rich. You prosper by solving problems. You accumulate by contributing. Generosity isn't what you do after you get wealthy. Generosity is what makes you wealthy. But his generosity is strategic, not emotional, purposeful, not random, hidden, not public, because he's not generous to feel good about himself. He's generous to create good around himself. And good always returns multiplied. These 7 signs exist in every man destined for wealth. Not one or two, not most of them, all of them. They work together like instruments in an orchestra, creating a symphony of success that attracts abundance like a magnet attracts metal. The mirror that reveals your financial destiny. Stop everything you're doing right now. We're about to perform surgery on your soul. We're going to cut through the lies you've been telling yourself and expose the truth about where you really stand in the race to wealth. This isn't about motivation. This isn't about inspiration. This is about revelation. Cold, hard, unforgiving revelation about whether you carry the signs of inevitable wealth or the symptoms of permanent poverty. Are you ready for honesty? Real honesty. The kind that hurts before it heals. The kind that destroys your illusions before it builds your reality. Because most men aren't ready. Most men prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable truth. But you're not most men. You're here because something inside you knows you're capable of more. Something inside you refuses to accept mediocrity as your permanent address. Something inside you is demanding the wealth that's rightfully yours. So let's begin the assessment. Let's hold up the mirror that reveals your financial destiny. First question. When money gets tight, what happens to your mind? Do you panic or do you plan? Do you make desperate decisions or strategic ones? Do you lose sleep or do you lose excuses? Be honest. The last time you faced financial pressure, how did you respond? Did you maintain serenity in scarcity? Did you stay calm in the storm? Or did you join the crowd of people who let temporary circumstances create permanent anxiety? If you panicked, you failed the first test. If you made emotional decisions, you're not ready for wealth. If you lost your peace because you lost some money, you'll lose your wealth the moment you gain it. But if you stayed calm, if you thought clearly, if you used pressure as fuel instead of letting pressure break you, you passed the first test. You demonstrated the first sign. You proved you have the internal stability that wealth requires. Second question, what do you hunger for more? Quick money or lasting wisdom? Immediate profit or permanent principles? Fast cash or fundamental knowledge? Look at your recent purchases. Look at your recent investments. Look at how you spent your last $100 of discretionary income. Did you buy something that depreciated or something that appreciated? Did you consume or did you invest? More importantly, look at how you spend your time. Are you reading books that will make you smarter or watching videos that make you dumber? Are you learning from people who have what you want or listening to people who have what you have? If you're chasing get-rich-quick schemes, you failed the second test. If you're prioritizing immediate gratification over long-term education, you're not ready for wealth. If you value entertainment more than enlightenment, you'll stay broke forever. But if you're investing in your mind, if you're learning from your betters, if you're treating wisdom like the ultimate wealth multiplier it actually is, you passed the second test. You demonstrated hunger for the right things. Third question, do you need recognition to stay motivated? Do you need applause to keep working? Do you need validation to continue building? Think about your recent accomplishments. Did you post about them on social media? Did you tell everyone who would listen? Did you seek praise and recognition and external validation? Or did you work in silence? Did you build in private? Did you progress without posting about it? Did you find satisfaction in the work itself rather than in other people's reaction to the work? If you need recognition, you failed the third test. If you work for applause, you'll never work long enough to build real wealth. If your motivation depends on other people's approval, your success will depend on other people's opinions. But if you can work in silence, if you can build without broadcasting, if your motivation comes from within instead of from without, you passed the third test. You demonstrated the independence that wealth requires. Fourth question, how do you handle failure? How do you respond to setbacks? What happens to your determination when things don't go according to plan? Remember your last major disappointment, your last business failure, your last investment loss, your last time things went completely wrong. Did you quit or did you adjust? Did you blame others or take responsibility? Did you give up or double down? If you quit when things got hard, you failed the fourth test. If you blamed others for your problems, you're not ready for wealth. If you let setbacks become stopping points, you'll never reach your financial destination. But if you bounce back, if you learned from failure, if you used setbacks as stepping stones to greater success, you passed the fourth test. You demonstrated the resilience that wealth demands. Fifth question, do you have lines you won't cross? Do you have standards you won't lower? Do you have principles you won't compromise regardless of the potential profit? Think about your recent decisions. Have you ever lied for money? Have you ever cheated for advantage? Have you ever compromised your values for temporary gain? Be brutally honest. When nobody was watching, when no one would know, when you could have gotten away with it, did you choose integrity or did you choose immediate benefit? If you've compromised your character for cash, you failed the fifth test. If you've lowered your standards for short-term gain, you're not ready for lasting wealth. If your integrity is negotiable, your prosperity will be temporary. But if you choose truth over profit, if you keep your word even when it costs you, if your character is non-negotiable, you pass the fifth test. You demonstrated the foundation that sustainable wealth requires. These questions reveal everything. They expose whether you're truly ready for wealth or just dreaming about it. They show whether you carry the signs of inevitable prosperity or the symptoms of permanent poverty. The transformation protocol that creates wealth magnets. Listen carefully. What I'm about to share will either transform you into a wealth magnet or expose you as someone who prefers excuses to execution. There's no middle ground here, no partial participation, no half-hearted attempts. You now know the 7 signs. You've assessed yourself honestly. You've seen where you stand. But knowledge without application is worthless. Awareness without action is meaningless. Understanding without implementation is just intellectual masturbation. The question is simple. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to transform yourself from someone who wants wealth into someone who attracts it naturally? How are you going to evolve from dreamer to achiever, from wisher to wealthy? First, you must practice discipline like your life depends on it, because it does. Your financial life, your family's future, your legacy, your purpose, everything depends on your ability to discipline yourself into the person wealth can trust. Discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is love. Love for your future self. Love for your family's potential. Love for the impact you could make if you just became worthy of the resources required to make it. Start today, right now, this moment. Create a morning routine that builds your character before it builds your day. Read for 30 minutes before you check your phone. Pray or meditate before you consume social media. Plan your day before you let your day plan you. This isn't about perfection. This is about progression. Every day you practice discipline, you become more worthy of wealth. Every day you choose character over comfort, you move closer to prosperity. Every day you do what you should instead of what you want, you prove you can handle abundance. Second, you must accept trials as your personal training program designed by God Himself to prepare you for the wealth that's coming. Stop resisting the process. Stop complaining about the pressure. Stop trying to avoid the very experiences that are qualifying you for your financial destiny. Every setback is setup. Every failure is education. Every disappointment is preparation. But only if you choose to see it that way. Only if you extract the lesson instead of just experiencing the loss. Only if you use pain as fuel, instead of letting pain be your excuse. When money gets tight, practice serenity. When people doubt you, practice detachment. When things don't go according to plan, practice resilience. When you could compromise for quick gain, practice integrity. This is how you build the character that wealth requires. Third, you must begin living like a wealthy person before you become a wealthy person. Not in spending, but in thinking. Not in consuming, but in contributing. Not in lifestyle, but in mindset. Wealthy people think long-term. Start thinking in decades, not days. Wealthy people invest in appreciating assets. Start choosing investments over consumables. Wealthy people solve problems for profit. Start looking for problems you can solve instead of problems you can complain about. Wealthy people are generous strategically. Start helping people in ways that create value, not just in ways that make you feel good. Wealthy people work when they don't feel like it. Start showing up consistently regardless of your emotional state. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is become it until you achieve it. There's a massive difference. Faking is about pretending to have what you don't have. Becoming is about developing who you need to be to attract what you deserve. Fourth, you must treat your mind like the money-making machine it actually is. What you feed your mind determines what your mind feeds you. What you expose your consciousness to determines what your consciousness creates. Stop consuming poison. Stop watching news that makes you negative. Stop following people who make you feel inferior. Stop listening to music that celebrates poverty and mediocrity. Stop engaging with content that doesn't elevate your thinking. Start consuming growth. Read books written by people who have what you want. Listen to podcasts that expand your perspective. Watch videos that teach you skills instead of just entertaining you. Surround yourself with content that makes you better, not just busier. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your greatest liability. There's no neutral position. Every thought is either moving you toward wealth or away from it. Every belief is either attracting abundance or repelling it. Every mental habit is either building your fortune or blocking it. Fifth, you must understand that wealth is not just a destination, it's an identity. It's not just something you achieve, it's something you become. It's not just about having money, it's about being someone money wants to flow to. This means you stop thinking like someone who wants to get rich and start thinking like someone who is rich. You stop acting like someone who needs money and start acting like someone money needs. You stop being desperate for wealth and start being worthy of it. Rich is not an amount in your bank account. Rich is a way of thinking, a way of being, a way of moving through the world that creates value everywhere you go. When you become rich in character, you attract riches in cash. When you become rich in wisdom, you attract riches in resources. This transformation isn't optional if you want real wealth. It's not suggested, it's required. Because temporary wealth comes to unworthy people all the time, but it never stays. Lottery winners go broke. Inheritance recipients lose everything. Quick money disappears quickly. But lasting wealth only comes to people who have become worthy of it, people who have developed the character to handle it, people who have built the wisdom to multiply it, people who have cultivated the integrity to steward it properly. The 7 signs aren't just indicators of future wealth, they're requirements for sustainable wealth. They're not just nice to have, they're must-haves. They're not just beneficial, they're essential. So stop waiting for wealth to find you. Start becoming someone wealth can't ignore. Stop hoping for abundance. Start developing into someone abundance naturally flows to. Stop wishing for prosperity. Start transforming into someone prosperity is inevitable for. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your chance to stop being someone who dreams about wealth and start being someone who attracts it naturally. The choice is yours. The time is now. The transformation starts today. You now possess what most men will never discover. The 7 silent signs that separate the chosen from the forgotten, the destined from the desperate, the future wealthy from the permanently poor. But knowing and becoming are 2 different universes. Information without transformation is just entertainment. Awareness without action is just academic masturbation. Right now, at this very moment, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to mediocrity, back to excuses, back to the same financial struggles that have haunted your bloodline for generations. The other path leads to your destiny, to the wealth that's been waiting for you, to the abundance that has your name written on it in God's ledger. But this path demands everything. Your comfort zone, your limiting beliefs, your addiction to being average, your excuses, your complaints, your victim mentality. Which path will you choose? Which version of yourself will you become? The man who heard this message and did nothing, or the man who heard this message and transformed everything? The 7 signs aren't suggestions. They're requirements. They're not options, they're obligations. They're not recommendations, they're commands from the universe itself. Either you develop serenity in scarcity or you stay broke forever. Either you hunger for wisdom or you starve in ignorance. Either you detach from recognition or you remain enslaved to other people's opinions. Either you build resilience or you break under pressure. Either you maintain integrity or you compromise your destiny. Either you think beyond the immediate or you trap yourself in poverty. Either you practice hidden generosity or you block the flow of abundance. There's no middle ground, no partial commitment, no halfway transformation. You either become all 7 signs or you remain a warning to other men about what happens when potential meets procrastination. If you want to continue this transformation, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation. Subscribe now and commit to becoming the man your wealth has been waiting for. The universe is watching. Your future self is depending on you. Your family's destiny hangs in the balance. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now,